my sister. You can go ahead.
Everyone, my name is Moira-Dee, and today we are going to be having a fantastic discussion. We have an amazing guest in our midst, and we have amazing Sunrise ambassadors and the CEO as well in our midst. Before we get started, I see some faces. I see some faces. Fantastic. Martha, I see you. All right. So fantastic. So for the discussion today, we're going to first have an interview with Shep, Coach Shep or Shepherd Wazara, and then we're going to open it up to everyone, for everyone to take part in the Q&A session. So as we know, in every community, you will find groups of disadvantaged people, and they're disadvantaged mainly because of financial and maybe social. They don't have the finances. They don't have maybe opportunities socially, and so most of us here actually work with these different groups. There could be orphans, there could be widows, there could be single mothers. When I was conducting interviews this past week, I spoke to several people who are in touch and actually doing some work with groups of disadvantaged people, and I learned a lot. Primarily that in our topic, we're looking at how to build the esteem of the disadvantaged. But I got to find out that there are layers. There's just so much more than just esteem. And maybe in all fairness, to just look at esteem alone in isolation would be a disservice. And so as I was doing my digging and as I was talking to people, I got to find out that a lot of the contributions that I heard mainly targeted at the individuals, what is the word? Being an individual, being an individual and having an identity. And so I managed to get a hold of Coach Shepherd Wazara, and as we were talking, I got to find out about the program that he's running there in Zimbabwe with Life Explosion. And it is an amazing program, and I thought to myself, it would be really, really great to have him on board to discuss more about how we can help the disadvantaged through identity and purpose. So I would like to welcome Coach Shepherd Wazara. He is the director of Life Explosion Initiatives. Life Explosion works with disadvantaged communities and individuals, specializing in mentoring, relief, crisis response, empowerment programs, and social justice. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. It's good to be with you guys today.
Fantastic. So I'm going to delve right into it. At first, when we were talking, and I mentioned about how does esteem fit into this whole thing, and you mentioned to me that building esteem doesn't work. You have been doing it for years, and you alluded to the fact that it is more about the identity of a person and finding their purpose. Could you talk more about that, please?
Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I said that is building self-esteem doesn't really work. For me, I've been doing this for years, and we talk about self-esteem, and you're building yourself up, you esteeming yourself. But I found there is something which is bigger and which is better, which is called identity. So when someone is in a position where they're disadvantaged, it's mainly their identity has been compromised. And when you begin to restore or strengthen or point someone towards their destiny or their purpose or their identity, who they are, you find that all these things that we call esteem issues start getting fall into place, fall into their rightful place. And I have done this over and over and over and over again when I've gotten into communities where I've been working with underprivileged people for a long time. And the minute they get a hold of their identity of who they are, and that starts getting restored, a lot of the issues that we consider low self-esteem, begin to fall away. Because, right with identity comes dignity. And when we talk about being disadvantaged, one thing that comes with being disadvantaged is broken dignity.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone's dignity is broken and their identity is broken, mm-hmm. then vulnerability sets in. And that's where most of our challenges lie.
Right. So then would you say that identity would then be the foundation on which then self-esteem would build up on?
Yeah.
So it underpins esteem. In as much as we wouldn't want to make self-esteem the central point here, but from what I hear from you is that identity has to be the foundation before we even go anywhere.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I guess that I've been challenged is dignity. When we're working with people who are underprivileged, we have to restore human dignity. We have to see that these are human beings and these are people who have honor, who have respect. And when we can restore that dignity, that's the first thing, because love covers nakedness and weakness, and so for Life Explosion, one of the first thing, one of our values is to restore dignity. So whatever we do, we ask ourselves, does this promote, does this support, does this build up someone's dignity? So for example, if I am working with someone who is hungry, right? And they are hungry, I ask myself this question: if I was hungry, would I want someone to take a picture of me being given some food and then saying, look guys, look at Shep at Wazara, he's hungry, so I've just given him some food? Does that feed into dignity? No. And as we do that, we find that people's identity starts getting shaken. So that's why these things are kind of like interlinked. So the first stage, I think, when we are working with people who are underprivileged is to restore dignity, is to bring dignity forward. When the person feels like a human being, that they are worth something, that they can belong, that they can contribute. Even they might be disadvantaged, but if they can see that value within them, and you can help them restore that value, then that's the beginning of a beautiful journey.
Fantastic. And it reminds me of one of the quotes that you mentioned when we were discussing before. You mentioned that with identity comes approval, affirmation, and confidence. Absolutely. So when we're saying approval and this affirmation and then the confidence, where is all this coming from? Where is the approval coming from? Where is the affirmation coming from?
Okay, all right. That's a really good question. Okay, so what I've discovered is a lot of us, everybody here, is looking for affirmation, something that says to you, you're a wonderful person, you're a good human being, you're enough, you've got what it takes, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. That's important. The second thing is we are all searching for things that are proof, that sort of rubber stamp that, what you're doing is a good thing, and, you're on the right track. and identity. So when you know who you are, then you can get affirmed in who you are. So people will support you, will say, Moira, you're good at this, you're good at that, you can do that. Those are the affirmation that we all long for, right? And
Right.
and approval. There are people, maybe your organization, how people will buy into it or will come and support it, or you've got people who are constantly approving the things that we do. And when we are underprivileged, a lot of that affirmation and that approval and that identity is removed and it's not on the scene, and you're not
Right.
noticed. You're not seen. You don't have a voice. Your voice is taken away from you. Your
Right.
ability to influence other people is not there. And so that's why we want to bring that identity, a sense of identity, a sense of dignity, which brings affirmation and approval, which that's
And
how we begin to build the inner man. And that's the most important.
right.
When we build that inner man, then all the things start falling into place.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm doing a little bit of screen sharing here for what Coach has just said. Just to recap, a person who knows who they are is unstoppable, is one of your favorite quotes. And with identity comes approval, affirmation, and confidence. That's what we've just covered. And of course, we talked about bringing back value and human dignity, and helping them to believe, belong, and become. Now, let's talk about the motto that you have for your program. It's quite a catchy one. Walk us through.
Okay.
Get on track, stay on track, get others on track. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So let me start off with a little story, okay? And it started off when I was working in South Africa, right? I was working in a community called Deep Sloot. And
Right.
by then, Deep Sloot was considered a hot area, and there were a lot of challenges, but it's a beautiful community. And when we got there on the 17th of July, I think you had Mandela Day. And people would come and, on Mandela Day, they would go to the schools and paint a door or clean the toilets or bring peanut butter sandwiches for kids. They had these things that, I mean, bless them, it's a good thing, but they were doing things that make us sleep better, but not make the people you were doing those things for sleep better. And so the young people who are underprivileged that we're beginning to work with found their identity, right? So when they found out their identity, we talk, that is getting on track, right? So getting on track, we mean that you have a purpose, you have a dream, you have something that you want to achieve. And getting on track is knowing that thing. And with this story that I was telling you, one school came up and called our program up and said, you know what, we want to bring some food and some peanut butter sandwiches and stuff like that. And I took it. I didn't agree. I was the director, but I didn't agree. I took it to the committee and to the students who were working, and I said, guys, this is what the school wants you to do. They want to come and bring some peanut butter sandwiches and all that. And you know what they said? They said, no, thank you. It says, yeah, we are flattered, but that's not what we need. We don't need peanut butter sandwiches. It says, we don't need peanut butter sandwiches. What we need is we need to dialogue. So instead of them giving us peanut butter sandwiches, why don't they send a school bus so they can walk us through how their school runs, so we can also run our schools better. Why? So these young people had got on track now. They were on track. And then staying on track is, there are certain things that we started talking about. How do you stay on track? So staying on track, we've got this acronym called LIFE that they did, okay? So, we'll talk about the 5 B's that we have, where we would say to them, um, live out the 5 B's, right? So be a role model. And we would say we say to everybody who's on our program is be the change that you want to be. The message giver is stronger than the message.
Right.
So the message giver is stronger than the message. And so we told, so the young people have to live out what they're saying. They have to walk the talk. And then the next B was educated, because we found that there was a lot of misinformation that was flying everywhere. So we encouraged people to get educated, bear the right information, be educated. And then we go to the next one, which is bear the right information. It's amazing what happens when people have got the right information, or they've got the access to the right information, because some people are disadvantaged, not because lack of resources, but lack of right information in the belief system.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then we talk about being a positive contact. When we say being a positive contact, we are saying that when you are in your community, use your eyes to recognize a problem. And when you recognize a problem, respond to the problem. If you can't respond to the problem, refer to someone who can actually get that problem sorted out. And then the last one, which is an active citizen. And what we're talking about being an active citizen, we're saying be a contributor. You know, don't complain about something. And a line that we use is, if you can see the issue and if it's bugging you, it means within you lies the solution. So when we started doing this, this is how people start getting on track, and then get others on track. We found this. This is one thing, and this is very important. Just because someone is disadvantaged, it doesn't mean they cannot help someone else. When a disadvantaged person helps another person, they reduce their ability or their being disadvantaged very quickly. It starts falling away. So we found that you could bring someone along. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's kind of like a paying it forward kind of thing. Like, I've got my issue sorted. Now I'm in a better position. I can help the next person. So
absolutely.
There are no dependents. It's, you're taken care of until you know, with the right tools, to stand on your own 2 feet, and then you can help somebody else.
You know, and let me tell you some beautiful stories that happen. You know, we were starting a feeding program, right? We're starting a feeding program in one area, right? And you know, my team went out and started meeting different key players in the community, and these so-called key players proved to be a big problem. They were a problem. We couldn't get names of people who were disadvantaged, who needed help, or the children that we needed to feed. And you know what we did? We went to the orphans in that community, the list of orphans that we have and the orphans we were working in that community. We said, all right, guys, we've just been given an opportunity to feed 200 more young people, but we're looking for people who are disadvantaged. Can I tell you, in 2 days, we had 200 names. We had 200 names.
From zero.
From zero. We had 200 names from people who are considered to be orphans and vulnerable. And they were able to go back to the community and find other people and say, this person needs help.
Wow.
You know, we got a donation of clothes and blankets. And I just go to a couple of the people who are considered underprivileged, and they didn't keep those things for themselves. They actually said, you know what, at this household, these guys are in a worse off position than me. Let me go and help them. So that's why it's so important that we promote this thing, that I'm helping you, but you also have to help others. So
help others. Yeah.
so you are on track. You've gotten on track. You stay on
Mm-hmm.
track and do the right things that keep you on track, and then get
Mm-hmm.
others on track as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Um, wow. A lot of comments are coming in. People are expressing how valuable the information is. Um, we are going to have a question and answer session, and then everyone will be unmuted. Well, those that have questions, you can raise your hands and you'll be unmuted, and you can ask your questions directly to the coach. Coach, can we talk about the re's, like reach the person? Like how does this on track mentoring program work? Like if we are talking about just from the perspective of just an ordinary individual, how can we how does this model actually work?
Okay.
I remember you were talking about reaching the person, restoring what is broken.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through? Could you
Okay.
walk us through the track?
Okay. So let me walk you through this. And so remember this: environment normally wins over character.
Okay.
So
Explain
environment.
that.
Okay. So what I am saying is that a person might not be a thief, right?
Right.
But if the environment forces him to become a thief or allows him to become a thief, they end up stealing. That's why I said in most cases. So I'm
Okay.
building up something. I'm building up to something. So what we're saying here is structure. Structure, when you're helping
Mm-hmm.
underprivileged people, is
Mm-hmm.
very, very important. Structure
Okay.
is better than content.
Okay.
Structure, because structure is very important. So then we came up with a structure, and the
Mm-hmm.
structure has got 4 R's that we work with. So the first R is you reach the person. So you got to reach the person. And
Mm-hmm.
remember, how you go into a community or how you reach people, the way you go in is the way people are going to know you. So if you go in and
Okay.
you are giving people money, you are going to be known as the people who give money. If you go in and you're preaching to people, you're going to be known as the people who preach to people, right? So the way you go in. So
Right.
we found that
Okay.
when we reach people, right in the reaching people is we try and build. In fact, we build relationship with the person that we are reaching. So reach the person, go to
Mm-hmm.
them, extend to them, find out, and that's how we reach them. And then they develop a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, they get to know the person, and they've reached them. And then once
Mm.
you get to know someone through relationship, you restore what is broken, because
Okay.
we've got needs, right? You restore what is broken and you identify, sometimes,
Mm.
do you know, sometimes a person is disadvantaged because there are barriers to the barriers that exist. And some people, it's a belief system. So we really,
Mm.
I'm a great believer in getting people to talk to people's personality, and to talk to their dream, and to talk and give hope, and put them through. So we do what are called
Mm-hmm.
victory weekends, where we're restoring lies, the lies that a lot of people have believed because we've been put in difficult situations. So restore people to their true identity, to who they are, and
Okay.
realign them. And there might be, I work with people who are struggling with substance. So
Mm-hmm.
substance abuse, all sorts of stuff. And when you get to a person, when a person knows who they are, and they realize that, look, I'm actually better than the way that I'm living. I'm actually better. I'm a
Mm.
better person. I can do this. The minute they
Mm-hmm.
start believing that, then the restoration process comes in. The next one
Okay.
is you resource the person. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
restoration and resourcing the person are they're very much interlinked. Because, you know,
Okay.
sometimes there are people who are unemployed because they don't have a CV.
All
And they
right.
don't have a CV because it's a simple thing that they cannot
Mm-hmm.
access a computer.
Mm.
Some people don't even have email addresses. Some people, I know it sounds really, you think it's crazy, but some people, life has beaten them so much that they've got these barriers. Some people don't have transport money to go for the job interview. Some people, you know, do you know you've got these
Mm.
barriers that are
Mm.
there? So
Mm.
you have to resource the person. And resourcing does not necessarily mean finances. So in our program, we have what are called fuel ups. So when you
Yep.
fuel up, you have to pick up a skill every year. You have to pick up a skill. So it could be
Mm-hmm.
planting tomatoes, it could be cleaning cars. I mean, I started working
Mm-hmm.
with some young people who started a babysitting service. There's one girl that used to buy tea bags, right? Used to buy a packet of tea bags and then sell one tea bag. They would sell a tea bag. Why? Because through this resourcing process, we showed them and we gave them skills on how
Mm-hmm.
to overcome their troubles. So resource people, sometimes the resource is
Mm-hmm.
financial, sometimes the
Mm-hmm.
resource is putting food in their stomachs, sometimes the
Mm.
resource is paying fees, sometimes the resource is removing danger, like cases of abuse. So you resource them so
Yeah.
that they're able to stand up and they're able to protect themselves. And then the last one is we release them. So
Mm-hmm.
we, right at the beginning, unashamedly, we tell you that I am helping you so you can help someone else.
Fantastic.
So when we
Mm.
release, we have created a process that is transferable. When a person has gone through
Mm-hmm.
these 4 R's, they're able to reproduce and we give them the skills to go and help other people. That's releasing them.
Fantastic. Wow. That is gold. That is gold. Um, you touched on you
What the
touched on giving people the sense of purpose
yeah
and like the critical things that in as much as they will be going through a program, joining a group and going through a program, there are critical aspects within that journey of building one's identity, sense of purpose, a sense of worth, competence,
right on.
belonging. Um, how does this all fit in,
Okay.
into the whole program, into helping and into building, um, helping someone build their identity?
Yeah. So this is what, we want to keep it simple, keep it very simple. So what I do with the people that we work with is we say, I need you to identify your super 5 people. Super 5. So we say, within your community, why don't you go and reach out to 5 people that you know, and then you meet up with these people. And so what happens is,
Mm-hmm.
for you to reach 5 people and to develop a relationship and find out about them, you need a bit of skill, okay? And so we give them
Right.
these 4 things. That the first thing you do is give someone a sense of purpose. Okay. So in the
Mm-hmm.
last week or so, we were at one of our feeding programs, and this little boy comes up, and this boy has got a big appetite, right? He always comes for seconds. And then I started talking to him. I said, you know what?
Mhm.
What do you want to be when you grow up? And this boy, his shirt was torn. He didn't look like it. I thought, this guy is going to come up and, give me the usual thing that kids say, I want to become, a policeman or something like that. Or, that's what I was thinking. Or a teacher because of that, what they knew. This little boy says, I want to become an engineer. He says, I'm going to become an engineer.
Wow.
Now, it didn't make sense. But all of a sudden, we realized that's a sense of purpose. I said, you know what? You can become an engineer. You will become an engineer. Do you know what an engineer is? And so each time this guy comes for feeding, the team around him talk about it. We call him the engineer. He's the engineer, Mr. Engineer, Mr. Engineer. Why?
Reinforcing.
We're reinforcing that purpose. And then the sense of worth. We give people, when you're working with people, give them that sense of worth. Because when they have an inferiority complex. So a sense of worth, you tell them, do you know how intelligent you are? Do you know what a wonderful person? Do you know who you are? And we begin to look for things that build up that sense of worth, that I am worth something. And you speak into that. You speak into people's brokenness, and you replace the brokenness with a sense of worth, And so if it's young people and if it's kids, let me tell you, if they've got a good hairstyle, we go to town about that hairstyle. If I see him kicking a ball well, I go to town about that. If it's adults, I am constantly looking out for something that they're good at, that they're gifted at, and begin to speak into that so that you get this worth. Then there's a sense of competence, right? A sense of competence. A sense of competence, what we do is we give them jobs. So I'm just using our in our programs that we do. In the mentoring program, competence means you have to reach out to another person. Reach out to another person. Go and talk to them about pregnancy. Go and talk to them about the corona pandemic and give hope. Go and do something. Go and help someone. This sense of competence, when you begin to do something and you can actually contribute, it brings dignity. And the last thing.
So just to keep you there a little bit on sense of competence, there is a misconception, really, I noticed even when I was doing interviews with people, that there's a belief that you need to be good at something, you need to be skilled at something for you to be able to take action. Like you mentioned, you can go and talk to people about the coronavirus. You're not a medical doctor, you're not a practitioner, but you can get information that you can then disseminate, the correct information. So this misconception that because you're not trained in a particular thing, therefore you then, look down upon yourself that, I'm incompetent in this. Do you find that to be one of the things that you try to break when you're...
It's a lie. That's one of the biggest lies ever. You know what? How many parents are there? Did they get a certificate in parenting? They never got a certificate in parenting or fathering. But God has given us something. God has given us eyes. God has given us eyes. Everyone is competent. God has given us eyes. You can see where there's danger, where there's trouble. God has given us ears. You can hear. You can hear a scream. You can hear someone, a sense, a sense of smell. You can walk into a place and this place doesn't smell so good, and it means something is up. A sense of touch. Oh, God has given you legs that you can walk to someone who's in trouble. And competence is very simple. Competence is maybe just instilling confidence in someone, speaking life to someone, helping someone. There's nothing wrong. I mean, help someone carry something. If you develop this attitude where you want to serve, serving doesn't cost you anything. It builds you. It builds up your esteem. It builds up your identity. It gives you dignity when you can. You know,
Correct.
there's this lady, right? There's this lady. She's late now. She was later on in her years, right? And you know what she used to
Okay.
do for our program, right? For the women's program, this 80-year-old woman, she would just bring in Shona Muchairo a broom, a sweeping. I don't know what the English word is, but Muchairo, which is for sweeping.
Yeah.
Every week when she came to the women's mentoring sessions, she brought one. That's all. She would go in the bush and she would collect these reeds and she would make Muchairo every week for 5 years. The years that I knew her, that's all she did. It didn't cost her anything. All she did was walk in the bush and used the environment that she had. So competence is important. The minute for me, and it's a very difficult one for our organization. This is what we have resolved. We have said, we will not partner with anyone who we cannot give back to. We won't partner. We will not partner. If the relationship is one-sided, we will not partner.
One-sided.
Even if the money is
It's
good.
got to be mutual.
If they've got the biggest funding, we are not interested. Because you know what happens? If you are just always on the receiving end, you become a slave. And I don't care who you are. So with our programs, I mean, I've had guest speakers who have come and spoken to people during our conventions, and people have gone to collect, some people have bought roasted nuts. Some people have brought mealies. Some people have gone to get wild fruits from the, from the forest. Some people have knitted something, but there is something that they can give. Because we know that
there is a comment that was made by Martha. Okay, we're coming to the question and A, and I'll let you know about it. But it is with regards to the term disadvantaged. That is it proper to be calling groups of people, these groups of people disadvantaged, or I don't know if there is another term, or are we labeling them by calling them disadvantaged?
Yeah, I would personally never call anybody disadvantaged in their face. But, words have changed. Like, we don't call it orphanages, we call them children's homes. We don't say, it's children at risk. So terminology is very important. Terminology, I think, is very important. When you begin to speak, it's be careful that you don't say, okay, hey, we are helping AIDS orphans. We are helping, COVID victims. We're helping people, please. It's people. We know, they know, and we know that that they need. But I found something which is really cool. You know the word poor. You know what it stands for?
What does it stand for?
People of other resources.
Oh, people of other resources.
Yeah.
Poor.
So, yeah, people of other resources. Because you know what? You might be financially poor, but you're not socially poor. You're not spiritually poor. Your health is good. There's some people with money, but their health is poor. There's some people who have got all these other things, but they're socially, they're very poor. So that's why we call it people of other resources. And when you see it from that angle, you see that everyone has got something to give.
Fantastic. Can I open it up to the floor? Because a
Sure.
lot of people have questions.
Yeah.
I'm just going to unshare the screen. We're now in the question and answer segment. Please raise your hand if you want to ask a question, and you'll be unmuted. Please raise your hand. While we are waiting, I am just going to read some of these comments, and I think there may be some questions. Someone says, just curious to know if this is in any way arranged in the order of priority. I was wondering if giving people a sense of belonging shouldn't be at the very top. Shouldn't be at the very top.
Yeah, that's a good. Well,
Is it in order of priority, or?
no, not really, because
Mm-hmm.
not really. Life
Mm-hmm.
has got no formulas. Eh? Life has got no formulas. We all know that. Yeah, but
Sure.
the first point of call is get people to believe. Get people to get people to believe that there is hope and they can get out of this trouble. And then, yeah, get them to belong. Yeah, belong. Get them to own the process and say, look, we can do this. And then they become all that they've been created to become. But some people might actually need a sense of competence. There's some guys that I work with, and all they need is a job. He just needs a job. He doesn't need all these other things. He just needs a job. And all I do is we work hard to try and get him a job. And when he gets a job, he's all right. So it depends. When you build a relationship with a person, you know what they need.
Correct. For some of us who are not, I know we have these communities everywhere, but as a way of paying forward, as a way of helping those back home, this kind of a program, how would it be tailored for those of us who cannot actually be on the ground?
Okay. All right. So with our on track mentoring, it's a simple program. It's simple in the sense that you just identify 5 people in your community that you want to help. 5 people in your community you want to help. Work with those.
Right.
And then help them. And those 5 people will also go and look for other 5 people in their community that they can help. And it spreads like that. However, if maybe it's difficult for you, identify a program or identify an organization that you can volunteer and work with. And when you identify an organization which shares the same, here's a critical thing. The organization has got to have the same values as you. Look at the organizational values, what they believe.
Right.
But, we are in such a desperate situation where we're needing support and we're needing help, that whenever somebody says, I want to help, we say yes. But we have learned the hard way that we only want to work with people who share the same values that we share.
Correct.
Because if the person doesn't share the same values as you, you're going to go backwards. So we were there teaching a group of people that we wanted them to give. We wanted to teach them to give because they were in a cycle where NGOs and people were just coming in and dropping off food, and these guys would go and find their torn clothes and then put it on when they heard that a certain NGO is coming. And then they would put soil on their faces and they look like really poor. And NGOs would come drop off stuff and they would go, right? So we started working in that community. And when we realized what we were doing, we said to them, we will not be giving anyone any material stuff for the next 2 months. Well, and gave stuff to some of the people, right? But it sounded like we were being cruel, but we weren't. We were trying to break the dependency syndrome that was in there. And when these guys realized a sense of worth, who they were, then they realized it. I remember one lady got up and said, you know what? We need to stop what we are doing. In our homes, we've been given a lot of clothes. We've been given a lot of food. We are in there and we are stacking it away. And that's how the story came out, that when they hear that an NGO is coming, put on your worst clothes and then go and, sound very sorry. But when you've got vision alignment and your values are aligned, whichever organization you're working with, you're going to start seeing the results that you want. I hope that sort of sheds light.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, definitely does. Are there any questions?
Yes, there is someone who's raising a hand, Ticharios, and there was also Tari. I don't know if you could see the hand raising, but there's Ticharios who started raising.
No, I couldn't, sorry.
Yeah, so Ticharios raised the hand, and the next one was Tari. So Ticharios,
let's have Tina.
Tina, can you try to unmute yourself? Yeah, I think you're unmuted. You can talk. Tinarios. Tinarios, you are unmuted. You can talk. Tina Charios or something.
Tina. I think maybe her.
Yeah, she's talking, but
not so good.
Yeah, she's talking, but we can't hear. But there's also Tari. Let me unmute Tari.
Okay. Pastor Tari.
Hey, thank you so much, Moira, for the opportunity, and thank you very much, Coach. That's really deep, the stuff that you're saying there. I was actually the one who asked the question about priorities on those senses that you had actually just spoken about: sense of purpose, of competence, all those sense of worth. And the reason why I'd actually asked about the issue of the sense of belonging being at the top right there was, well, I think you eventually answered me very well. But the reason why I'd actually asked was, sometimes I realize that with disadvantaged people, they kind of like suffer this low esteem, and sometimes they kind of just feel, no matter how you try sometimes to reach out to them, to tell them, hey, you know what, you can't become this, you can't do this. Sometimes they kind of like feel like you don't understand my situation, you don't understand my circumstances. And so maybe before you even challenge them to say, you can't become this, or before they can believe in themselves, before they can believe or become, sometimes I just feel like maybe what they need is just that sense of belonging. Just for them to feel like you love me, you care for me. I feel like I belong here. I feel like, I'm part of this family. I feel like these are kind of people that want to see me grow. If they can just have that sense of belonging, of just knowing that you are not just trying by all means just like to look down upon them, but you really see them as people. You really see them as, as everyone else. I feel like it becomes easier now for them now to believe that they can be anything, that sense of purpose for them to actually become the other stuff now that they really want to become. So that's why I was actually asking about the priority.
Yeah.
I think you answered, yeah.
I think, Coach, you alluded to this fact when you were talking about the R's, that the first R is reach the person. You have to build a relationship, and I think that is in line with building a sense of belonging. I don't know. You may correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Moira, can I also say something here? Is remember this, guys. People are doing a wonderful job helping people who are disadvantaged. But there's also the truth about it. People who are disadvantaged are not easy to work with as well. Those little poor orphans, oh, so cute, and they need help. They're little rascals sometimes. They are. They are. And those people who, you know, life is so hard for them, they will crook you. They will, yeah. I'm telling you, we've gone through this. So here's the thing, and I like what you were saying. There is a relationship. Get to know the person. Don't feel sorry for them. Feel compassion, because when you feel sorry, it's disempowering. When you feel empathy, it's empowering. You know, feel with empathy. Don't feel sorry for them, because when you don't, what I'm saying, don't feel sorry for them, be moved by compassion. But when you feel sorry for them, then you overcompensate and you end up doing the wrong thing. The other thing, start off with the people who want to be helped. Do you get what I'm saying? Start off with the one who wants to get helped, because the one who wants to get helped is hungry to get helped. But also we use radical love, and we also rescue people who don't even know or who don't even think they need to be rescued. So we go and help them. But however, as a rule of thumb, I go to people who want to be helped. It's like when you're working with people who are abusing substance. There might be some people here who are passionate about helping people who are abusing substance, and they're addicts and all that sort of stuff. You can't work with somebody who doesn't want you to work with them until they actually come to the end of themselves and they say, I need help. That's when the magic begins to happen. So as we're doing this thing, remember, look for people who want to be helped. 2, be empathetic towards a situation. And then you also need to have guidance, guidelines. Your help should have guidance. Your help should have boundaries. Because if you don't have boundaries, you will be broke. You will give away every single thing that you have. And you must be strong enough to say, you know what? I can give you this 10 kgs of meal. That's all I have, and that's all I can give you. Now, I'm going to help you for 3 months. I'm not going to help you forever. When these 3 months are up, my friend, we should have reached another level. That's how I found that it works. With the kids we pay school fees for, you know what we say? If you fail, my friend, and you play, somebody else wants this grant. They're going to get it. But if you're struggling academically, come up and say, I am struggling. I cannot do my maths, or I'm not. And then we make a plan to help you pass. But if you're going to play around and you don't want to use that opportunity that you've been given, we will only give you this opportunity for 4 years. After 4 years, it's gone. And we found that we've gotten magic out of that. I sound cruel, but help with condition. Help with condition works.
I just wanted to comment on that issue of help with conditions. How do you handle, or how do you resource people who believe that the only resource that can end their problems is money? So for example, you talk about going to school, learning a skill, learning this, but someone just tells you, if only I can get money, if only I can get this much money, or $2,000, I can start this, I can do this. But you know that maybe even if I give them this money, they'll squander it or just use it, anyhow. How do you resource such people who just believe that money is all they need to end all their problems?
That's my specialty. That's my specialty. So Tari, I have an interview, and then I ask them, do you have a bank account? Most of the time, no bank account. Do you have collateral? And they say, what is collateral? Then I start teaching them. I said, listen, if you had $2,000, would you just give it to someone who has got no plan? I said, your business, have you got a business plan? What is your cash flow? How are you going to pay this money back? And then when we start having those conversations, that give me money starts going quieter and quieter and quieter. And I take them to a place where they say, there's no way I'm going to get this money. And I'll tell them that, look, you know, I'm not a fool. I'm not going to just throw money at you. You've got no skill. You've got no experience. You don't have a plan. And you see, I don't give donations. I give investments. So I said to you, if I give you $2,000 investments, how am I going to get my money back? And then that's when they come up and say, no, you see, no. He will see himself or herself that I'm not going to be taken for a ride. And that's when we start. We say, like, if you want this, here's my condition. If you want the money, yes, I've got the money. If I have the money, here's the money. But here are the conditions. First of all, you got to start off this 6-week course on financial freedom. Start off. If you achieve this 6-week course, then I want you to open a bank account. And then I want you to do this and this and this, because we know it works. If the person does not adhere to these things, we've been burnt too many times. No, can do.
Yeah, sorry, so I'm going to play the small clip now. I'll share my screen.
Okay, thank you.
Allow me, if there's no sound, let me know. Thank you.
Good.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, we have reached the end of our session. Thank you so much, Coach. We have learned so much. We have taken notes. I will get the PPT out to everyone. We'll share on various platforms. I think moving forward, we will be in communication, and we can see maybe there can be a program that can be tailored for us as Sunrise Foundation. We would really love to take on board the material that you've shared with us. I think it's very useful. Okay. Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much. And also, I love the name of your foundation. You know, it's a beautiful name, because you know what happens when the sun rises, eh? Hey, you know what happens when the sun rises, and continue to give hope. Continue to give hope, because when you give hope, the sun will rise in a lot of people's lives. And I just see a big organization that is sweeping across this continent, giving hope and showing people that it is possible, that we can end extreme poverty. We can change different lives. So well done. Keep up the good work. I'm really honored to have been part of this session. Yep.
And thank you very much. And Moira, thank you very much. Before we end the session, allow me to just share a presentation of some of the Sunrise promotional products that we have.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Good, thank you.
I will leave this time over to the directors of Sunrise or the CEO, Tracy Happy. Head bowed.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Coach Wazara, we want to thank you very much for such an educating presentation. We appreciate all your efforts. We love you. We wish you well. And so we wish you to come back again and empower us. And we will also want to have a program with you that will be coaching us. We shall organize and we'll come back to you. This was wonderful. This was fantastic. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We leave
Thank
this
you very
time
much.
to.
Thank you.
You are
Thank you.
welcome. You should come again. We now leave this time to our questions and answers for our t-shirt presentation, our cups presentation. We have a t-shirt for you, Coach.
Oh, thank you.
We have a Sunrise t-shirt for you. We don't know how it's gonna get to you, but we have it here. We are full of love. We love you. We are so excited.
Thank you. Yeah.
Director Ziki.
All right. I hope everybody can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, we can.
I'm so excited. Like today was very, very powerful. And I'm sure everyone out there can agree with me that we learned so much. Let me take you back. You said, get on track, stay on track, and get others on track. This is so powerful. I like that. So I'm feeling like being generous, okay? I feel like being generous today. You saw our merchandise that we are selling with these umbrellas, cups, t-shirts, and everything is all for a cause. So I'm not going to be giving you something that is going to disturb your mind because I want you to go home with all this knowledge intact, all right? So here we go. I only have 3 very simple things that I want you to do for me. Very, very simple. The first person to get it correct is going to either get a cup or a t-shirt, okay? I'm going to be giving out 2 cups and a t-shirt. I'm so generous. And I know someone who's always grabbing these things from us. I'm sure now you have a museum in your house with Sunrise merchandise. All right, so here we go. The first thing is.
So Zeki, are they going to say out the answer or are they going to text? Because a lot of people are still muted.
They can text.
Text is
okay,
better, right?
I think it's easier so that we avoid the theme of everybody speaking at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
So whoever texts first, I'm going to see that, all right?
Yes, yes, good, excellent.
Okay, now I said, Coach Wazara's motto is get on track, stay on track, and get others on track. What is the motto of Sunrise? Type it, type it, type it, type it, type it so quick, okay? What is the motto of Sunrise? I'm waiting. I'm checking. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm still waiting. What is the motto of Sunrise? Don't trust Google. Let's go. Yes, we got it. We got it. We got it. Yes, we got it. We got it. Yes, I saw it. I have just seen it from Captain Cheneka. One act of kindness can change the whole world.
He has a typo.
How about the entire world? How different is that? Entire or whole world?
What?
He says, Captain, typo.
Entire world.
Typo. It changes the whole sentence. No.
Okay. Still, there is no answer. All right. Still, there is no answer. Let's go. Type. Let's see.
There is.
Please let me get my gift, please.
Okay, let's just be generous. Let's just be generous. Okay. I still have another one. Let's be generous.
Oh, I sent to Tracy. I meant to send to everyone. I made a mistake.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Okay. Number 2 is
no.
But I was the first one on that one.
All right.
I sent to Tracy. I made a mistake.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am sorry about that. All right. The next one is Sunrise has been doing some activities back home. And can someone just give me 2 of the activities that we've been doing back home? Charity services that we've been doing back home.
2.
I just want 2. There are many, but I just want 2. 2. I just want 2 only.
This one got it. Who is this, Healy? No, you know what? The directors are not allowed to participate in this thing.
Yes, they are not. Yes, there is a winner. Someone by the name Legion.
Yes. That is not fair. That is not fair.
All right, now this one is just going to be open to anyone here. From the presentation that was given today, I just want you to let us know that by the time you leave this place, you're going to leave with something. Please, who can tell us just few things that they've learned today? Just few things. This one is so open, okay? I feel like being generous. I'm just going to give you a cup to show that you were paying attention.
Is it for all, even directors?
Martha, all the way from Kenya. She was the first one to post.
Wow.
Okay. Miss Origi. That's Martha from Kenya.
Okay. Oh, someone says be a role model, be active, be a member of the society, and be involved. This is China Tekla Tanya. And someone said give people a sense of belonging. It seems everybody was paying attention. So who am I going to give this thing? I only have 1 cup left.
Give everyone. Everyone who answered.
Everyone got something. Don't give them Don't give them the fish, but teach them
how to fish. Yes.
Ooh.
That's
so
a good
everybody
one.
was paying attention. So what should I do anyway? Here's the thing that I'm going to use to break this whole thing, okay? I'm going to give you some letters. I want you to unscramble them. Then we are done. We go home.
Nice, Aki.
Then we go home because I have 1 cup.
Can we just have our presents, please?
I still have a cup to give. Here we go. Pay attention. This is very, very simple. Just unscramble this and then we go. The letters are U, S, N, S, E, R, I.
Come again.
U, SNSERI. Someone got it already? Someone got it. Someone got it. Tari got it. Tari got it. I can see.
Boy.
Ambassador Tari got it, all right? Ambassador Tari
Wow.
got it.
Wow. Quick.
Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And please follow us on Instagram, Sunrise page, and also on Facebook. Follow us. We update you about our activities and everything else that we share. And everybody else who was here today, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you. One act of kindness can change the entire world.
The entire world. I won that one. You refused me from my.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Coach. Coach, thank you so
All right,
much for
thank you.
us.
Well done, guys. Keep up the good work.
I'm going to give back to my director, Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you once again. One act of kindness.
With love. Change the entire world.
One act of kindness with love.
Yes,
Change
the
the
entire world.
Can change the entire world. One act of kindness with love
Can
change the entire world.
Love you. We appreciate you. This marks the end of our session. Come again next time. We'll be updating you on new topics. We love you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Tracy.